Wow. Well, it looks like I'm streaming. It looks like I'm going here. Hey. Yep, that's right. Okay, so consider you guys welcome to a brand new pre-show. I'm still waiting on my co-host to get here. Traffic is sucking because of the pre-Comic-Con stuff, and we got 2 people watching now, although I might be one of them. I'm not quite sure. How you guys doing today? Let's see what's going on in the chat. Brr. Hey, chat person. I don't know who you are. But yeah, so if there is anybody watching out there right now, just doing some pre-stuff. Yeah, doing a little bit of pre-stuff. How's the sound coming in? Is the sound good? That's always a concern for me, Yeah, that's always a concern. Let's see here. Boo-boo. Yeah, so let's take a look here. Alright. Oh, well, let's see. I'm getting a PM. Hey, thanks for letting me know. Sound is okay. Always concerned. Still getting a handle on this jazz, Yeah, new equipment and all that. Bloody hell. Alright, so we're up there sitting here. So, we're going to be covering some fun stuff today. I really hope all these fans that we got going on isn't really interrupting a whole lot of things, because I'm telling you, oh my god, it is so hot. So hot. Hey, thanks, Mr. Horse. That's 2 people that's saying my sound is good. Give me just a second here. I'm gonna go a little crazy here. Woo, alright, fun stuff. Now, you guys might not know it, but I just transferred all the way across the Wizard's Tower with magic. Lots and lots of magic. Alright, so, hey Nick, is the sound over here working? Actually, I'm just double checking on that. You're gonna be giving me a reply in a minute, so that's cool. But, as that is a thing, let me get my Hearthstone here, and oh man, that's crazy talk. So much power. Hey, what's going on, Dragon? Yeah, we're getting off to a little bit of a late start because my guy, he's stuck in traffic, which says a lot. Alright, so the sound is good over there. That's cool. Yeah, my guy's getting off to a really rough start. The toughest part about living in Southern California is, I ride my motorcycle, he rides his motorcycle, and oh my god, there's still traffic sticking. Oh my god, it's just so much traffic that going like 15 miles can still take forever. So far forever. Okay. So, I'm gonna do something I normally don't do, which is give you guys just a little bit of a preview of what we'll be talking about today on the show. We've got some good stuff. Yep, a lot of good stuff. Number one, we'll be going on about our paint stuff. If you check the Back in the Deck or BidP channel, you'll see last week's episode where we talked a lot about color wheel, color theory. Today we're going to be going over the different ways to paint, which is kind of cool. We're going to be talking about different brush techniques, inking, dry brushing, and of course airbrushing, which is what not good at stuff likes doing. We've got some current pictures of his latest dice tower that we made. Oh, well, sweet. You got that picture. You got one of the pictures from Stream of Many Eyes. Thanks, Dragon. That's Seriously, that was such a good event. I was blown away by everybody that was working that. But as you guys know, every single episode that we that we do is aimed at younger gamers, newer gamers, kind of the, we over here at Back in the Deck, we try and be the reverse of gatekeepers. You know what I mean? Because far too many people, especially, if you head over to Back in the Deck, hey, I'm thinking, should I do it? Okay, you guys in the chat, actually, would you guys like to know the mission statement of what Back in the Deck does, why we do all these live streams and stuff? Let me know in the chat if you guys want to know why we do what we do. But I mean in total, because the mission statement is on the website. There's a link down there. Yeah, no, I remember you very well, Dragon. I'm still impressed by a lot of your work, man. Seriously, because I'm glad that this guy, you guys in the chat, check out the Pickled Dragon. This dude is like pro paint guy all over the place. I mean, this guy paints miniatures and sets, and well, mainly the miniature stuff that he does. He is way better at painting than I ever wanted to be. Like, I want it to be pretty good, but I was gonna say like B plus good at best. But man, yeah. But oh, we got one saying go for it. So let me just pull this up here. Doing this whole thing. There we go. I'm heading over to, and you guys can do it with me if you like. The link is in the description at www.backinthedeck.com. And I'm just gonna walk you guys through the whole thing. Yay, I got a little banner. Isn't that fun? Been kind of killing myself on this, so please forgive me. I suck at web design. But, where did we come from, guys? Well, over the course of our lives, we've had the interesting conversation, and this is me as well. Wow, you play Dungeons and Dragons, but you're black. And it's like, oh God, really? Yes, I am black. That is, my family ancestry does come from various parts of Africa and Brazil. And then you read comic books, but you're a girl, I've heard say so many times. And all those cards are being pulled. We started telling those folks to put the cards back in the deck. That's what we are. We started going to stores all over the country, between California, Nevada, anywhere that we can go, and we saw that other geeks are marginalized, especially on the internet. So we noticed a trend in this conversation, so we started this place, and we're building a community where everybody is heard. Okay, everybody. The points of view of people of color, women, LGBT, the disabled, and the rural poor. I'm not forgetting you guys out there in trailer parks and on the farms trying to get the next year's crop in. We're here for you. Those are the priority, because we are those voices that are drowned out in conversation on the rest of the internet. We are a community of dedicated to the inclusion of people of color, LGBT, women, the disabled, and the rural poor. I'll have to fix that. And if you're new to nerd culture or just curious about it, hey, come on in. You're welcome. Our doors are only closed to gatekeepers. You see, our culture, be it gaming, movies, superheroes, tabletop RPGs, board games, cosplay, miniatures, all that stuff is for everybody. Every single person out there that wants to do it. There are no cultural limitations on imagination. And here, you are who you choose to be. You're not Black Superman. You're Superman, as long as you're wearing the S and the cape. You're not a slave in a wheelchair. You're Captain Luffy if you're cosplaying Captain Luffy. You are most definitely not Rule 63 Disney princess. You're not here. Here, you wear a costume. You are that character. And by the way, yes, I am wearing a turtleneck, and it's this hot. it's part of the whole spell casting. So yeah, now our points of view are based on personal experiences, but everyone gets to voice their point of view, you know. So exchange ideas with us, you know. I'm hearing the tolling of the bell. Yeah, tolling of the bell is coming in. So I think that's my co-host. Give me just a few Give me a few minutes. All right. So yeah, sound is good, all that jazz. Yeah, just watch out for the thing.
The thing.
The cable.
Oh,
by your
yes.
seat. Yeah.
You want to shut the door?
Just halfway. Okay, yeah, that works.
Oh boy, hi.
Yeah. Say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
All right. Well,
I made it. I'm alive.
Yep. So now that my guy is here, and all that jazz, we can get the show started. So, yeah, with the show getting started, I'm going to say we'll be back in just a moment.
Hit it more.
And welcome to the Hobby Hall. I didn't realize I had the mic turned all the way down for the introduction on that. But yeah, welcome to the Hobby Hall, everybody. I am Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and I am here today with my good friend
Dave, not even good at stuff. What's up, guys?
That's right, yeah. Pull the mic a little closer to you there. Let's get that whole thing situated. You see the blue light?
Yep.
Okay, you talk into the blue light.
Blue light, got it.
Yeah, so if you could slide the mic a little closer.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, that's right.
That takes some finagling.
Slide the mic, yeah.
Slide it more, all right. Yeah.
All right, yeah,
Cool.
So, all right, so yeah, it's funny, he just showed up, as you guys know, and he's like, man, I'm sorry I'm late, there are people out there trying to kill me. I'm like, yeah, it's Southern California traffic, and oh my God, between Orange County and Long Beach, don't you notice that people drive like not only like they own the road, but that they hate you for being there?
Yeah, like there's nothing you can do, right? If you're on a motorcycle, no matter what you're doing, you're wrong. Like it's just like you're the problem. Like no, I'm actually the solution, but you don't realize that.
Yeah,
so,
you know.
But okay, that's good.
Yeah, but 15 minutes. Honestly, people don't even start. Like, I'm not that kind of boss that's like, you're 15 minutes late. It's time for you to burn. No. I'm just gonna have one of my geckos eat your pinky toe. Just the pinky toe.
Just the pinky toe?
Well,
okay, we can work that out.
Pinky toe, 15 minutes. I figure you're
That's
not
fair.
using it.
That's fair.
You're not using it. Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about a lot of good stuff today. We're going to expand on the stuff we did from last week, specifically about the painting techniques. Today I want to go over brushing techniques, inking, and airbrushing.
I can talk to you about one of those three things with confidence.
Well,
I can talk to you about all three, but
you've used an airbrush before.
A little bit, yeah.
That makes you more of an authority than me.
Yeah, that's the one I can talk about. The other two,
Yeah, you should really check out Pickle Dragon stuff. His stuff.
Pickle Dragon?
Pickle Dragon.
I'll check him out.
One of our deckers. He's in the chat right now, and yeah, he is just amazing. I may pull up some of your stuff. Today. I'm just letting you know, because wow. And yeah, you actually ended up painting up a dice tower this week, and we're gonna get to that because I's got the pictures to shows the world.
Right on.
You know.
Do you got the complete picture?
I
or
got
just
the
ones
ones
I
that
sent you?
I just got the ones that you sent me.
I say that's not 100% the finished picture. But that's all right.
No defense. No defense.
It's okay.
No justifications. You just say thank you. You just take the compliment.
Yeah.
Took me until I was 38 to actually get that to learn that lesson.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. So but yeah, you know, and a thing came up on my Twitter this morning. Yeah, and it was somebody talking about the difficulties of being nice and how it can be misconstrued. And it got me thinking about something serious, which is the difference between being nice and being kind. So I want to talk about that a little later. I figure I give it to you and to you guys out there to let it roll around in your head.
Well, let me ask, because the way you say it, I'm wondering, is it being nice and being kind, or is it being nice and being polite?
That is a really good question.
Yeah, because sometimes you're just being polite. You don't want to hurt someone's feelings, and you're being nice, and then people pick it up and run away with it. Like, oh, this guy loves me. Sure, yeah, that's that. I love you, but I was just trying to be polite. So,
well, I'll reach you what we posted as far as that goes.
Oh, okay.
A little later on in the show.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, but you know, this is that time where we talk about our week. Oh my God, we talk about our week. And if any of you guys actually watch all of our streams, I'm so sorry, because you know what I'm up to from day to day to day to day to day, except for this week, because this week, you know, it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We are 4 days, T-minus 4 days till San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Dude, you're crazy, dude. Good luck.
Well, it's not just that. Because of the Comic-Con rush with work and making sure the hotels are booked and all that jazz, like, a lot of my co-hosts weren't able to make it, so I wasn't able to transmit more than Sunday and Monday this week.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Big bummer.
Yeah, really big bummer. But that's kind of the nature of this game in this location. Like New York podcasters, when New York Comic-Con is up, they go through the same hurdles and the same difficulties. But yeah, I'm telling you, it's madness. Like, the madness of San Diego Comic-Con takes over the city like some, I don't know, multi-dimensional virus that oozes its tentacles from the convention center all the way to Oceanside.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I went a couple years back, and it was my first time going, but everyone knew you were in town for Comic-Con.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No matter what you did, you stood out like a sore thumb. Like, and I'm just from up the coast a couple miles. It's not like I've never been to San Diego, but I totally stood out as a tourist, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
but
you're military too, right?
And I'm military.
Yes.
Well, I was at the time.
Yeah, so
Former.
I mean, yeah, I could totally see that. It's like, oh, you must be here for Comic-Con. Actually, no, I'm going to the base. The base by Comic-Con?
Yeah.
No, I'm just I'm going to go drop off some orders and some schematics. Oh, orders and schematics about a costume, huh? No, not a costume. I'm not at liberty to tell you what I'm dropping it off about.
But they were right. I was there for Comic-Con base, and I was dropping off schematics for a costume. So.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Truth be told, there's all that madness that's going down there. I'm still making sure that all my ducks are lined up in a row. It's still hot.
Not as hot, thankfully.
Oh, not as hot,
but it's
no,
still
no.
hot.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think the term was really seals in the flavor.
It does. When you're wearing all your bike gear, just Just locks it in there.
Yeah,
So-
just nice and vacuum sealed. We're like, yeah, pickled. Aren't we sexy?
Yeah.
And oh wow, we just had
Power
a power
surge.
surge. Isn't that great?
We still alive?
Oh yeah, well, looks like we're still alive. Looks like we're still alive. We'll find out. Ooh, yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, that's right. That was a power surge. It's interesting on where I come from with the whole live casting and comic writing and spec scripting and all that stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm not going back to Comic-Con. I said that 10 years ago. And
I said that a few years ago.
Huh?
I said that a few years ago.
Yeah, right. 1, 2, skip a few. I've been casting spells for decades.
All right.
And funny thing, it's like having a whole lot of cakes in an oven. A lot of cake.
Yeah.
A lot of ovens. And then a timer goes off, and you're like, what is this timer? Oh, crap! And then you have to go back to, like, the first oven.
So
in,
you
like,
got to
the
find
first
which
bakery.
oven you were in.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate doing batch cooking. Like, my wife's really good at it. She'll sit there and she'll cook 5 things at a time. And I'm like, I'm going to take care of the bacon, and then I'm going to take care of the eggs. But the bacon's going to get cold. I don't care. Like, I can't do both. I can't multitask.
No,
So-
I totally understand that. I really do. But yeah, so getting the Comic-Con stuff settled in the P's and Q's, that's been crazy. And again, the heat wave. Now, I don't know if they're coming up on the mics, because I didn't do the independent sound check. I just depended on these guys in the chat to let me know if the sound was okay.
All right.
But yeah, we got one of the swamp coolers.
Nice.
Yeah, take a look. It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the swamp coolers. I've actually got like an ice pack in it.
Has it been working nice?
I'm not quite sure, because when it comes to swamp coolers, like, it says it's an evaporation cooler,
Mhm.
but it doesn't say where it evaporates from.
Well, it should evaporate from the reservoir.
Yeah, you see, that's the whole thing. The reservoir. I turned the thing on, and it just started going, here, water, 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 and I'm like, what? It's a spray bottle type thing. this isn't working. So I had to use my engineering skills to add a different type of water catch to make sure I'm not spewing water all over the place.
Yeah, you really don't want to be shooting water.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's that. But it's funny, because the big one that's in the studio right now, and to let you guys know, we've got fans all over the place right here.
Yeah, it's
To
actually a
be here
lot
for
nicer
you.
than last time.
Oh man, I'm trying. But we ended up getting these as seen on TV individual swamp cooler air conditioning units. They're about 1,000 cubic inches.
Oh wow! All right, not a lot.
So yeah, 10 by 10 by 10. I mean,
Yeah.
that's about it. And we ordered. Oh, yep. Dragon's organizing his miniatures while he listens. If only the camera was pointed at your side, because this dude's miniature collection is amazing.
Bring it up.
I'll be doing that later on the show. Let me pace. But yeah, and we ordered the 2 little ones, and Amazon was like, "Oh, that's great, but we ain't shipping them to you." And I'm like, "Well, what did we do? You know what you did. We'll ship you the foot massager, but we won't ship you the air conditioner, because we know what you did."
What?
And the Amazon was like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to deliver over there, because you know why. You know what you did." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. I'll just go to eBay." So I went to eBay, and I ordered these things. And they were like, "Yeah, no, I got them for $30. We'll ship them out from Pomona. Not a big deal." And found this thing over here, and we got it from Nebraska.
All right.
That's here. I'm
Pomona,
still
not-
waiting. I'm like, I could have walked to Pomona.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 70 miles away.
Yeah, you can still
But I
get
could
it.
have walked there, picked the things up, taken like one of my little USB charge units, plugged the thing in, put them on each shoulder, and walked back wearing shoulder pads of air conditioning before I got the Nebraska thing. So hopefully they'll be here Monday. If not, the Duggernaut is gonna just, well, I'm not gonna say he's gonna suffer,
It's way nicer in here. So this is fine.
Well, I'm trying.
Well, I'm interested in those personal swamp coolers. So let me know how they work.
Well, here's the super ironic part. We had to change the locks on the apartment because of a weird misadventure, and when I went to Ace Hardware to get the new locks,
they had them there, right?
They had them there.
Yeah, I saw some at Home Depot the other day. I was
I'm
like,
just
what?
like $10 more.
Yeah.
But
No
$10
shipping and right
more
there.
to have it in my hand
Yep.
and to take it into the studio and to point it at that chair.
Oh, this is fine though. Like you're good.
All right, cool.
So when you get them, great. But
yeah.
you're fine.
So what's your week been like?
My week has mostly been applying for real jobs and painting. So I've been painting this dice tower, and shooting a video step by step for anyone who doesn't know anything about painting, or mostly it's airbrushing because I was working on my airbrushing, and it turns out this guy is big enough I was able to airbrush pretty much everything except just little touch-ups, which I did with the brush.
Nice.
So, and the eyeballs. I'd put brush on the eyeballs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just easier to do.
Yeah, most definitely, especially when you're painting a model with not your preferred medium for the first time.
Well, yeah. Well, this is not my first time doing airbrushing. But
No, but it is your first time airbrushing that dice tower.
sure. I don't think I'll be painting more of this dice tower, but yeah, sure.
Well, you never know. You might be like, yeah, could I get another one of those things?
I've had some people inquire about them, but I was trying to figure out the legality of selling somebody else's, because we didn't design these, so I don't know how the legality of that works out, and I don't want to get sued. So
Oh no, it's a thing. It's a serious thing. Here's the upside. I've changed the design, so we
Nice.
will be selling them at Back in the Deck.
cool.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, if you guys are actually wondering what he's talking about, yeah, if you're wondering what the dude is talking about, what we have here is our nice Cthulhu dice tower. Look at the Cthulhu dice tower. Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. Oh, that is good stuff. Look at that. Oh. Now, that I dug. I really dug. I love the back thing. And of course, you guys can find that on Deckers on the Book. If you guys join the Facebook group, it's right there. But yeah. Oh, moving to New Orleans in this heat? Oh my God.
Yeah, you picked a bad time.
No. There's really no bad time to move to New Orleans. I mean, that as well as I do.
In any heat, it's bad time to go to New Orleans. But going to New Orleans is great. Yeah, you should definitely go. It's a great place to be.
Well, there's a lot of really good entertainment stuff happening in New Orleans now. That's where like the Preacher Show is being made, a lot of AMC stuff.
Oh yeah.
That is where, if you are the working artist right now, Louisiana and Georgia are the places to be.
Huh. I wasn't aware of that, but it's cool that Georgia. I know Georgia because Walking Dead really picked it up there.
Georgia.
I don't know Georgia like that, but I know they're doing a lot of work in Georgia, and
that's where most of the Marvel movies are filmed.
Yeah, a lot in the States are filmed in Georgia. Yeah, it's crazy, but
it's cheaper.
It's cheaper, but it's funny because it builds this economy there. So it's interesting because they're coming from Hollywood. They're flying out to Georgia. They're artificially pumping this economy. So it's just going to be, hopefully they keep doing it for a long time, because if they stop filming in Georgia all of a sudden, there's going to be a lot of people who don't know what to do anymore.
Well, most of the people that...
Hopefully not.
Most of the people that are going to Georgia are already in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Georgians that are in the entertainment industry there are getting their names known. So when the entertainment industry leaves,
they can go.
Yeah, they're going to get called to leave with them.
Good.
That's kind of the way it is. I love Georgia, though I've never been there, but we all know that Atlanta is where black people are made. So
Wow.
Just like Nebraska's where white people are made. Most people think it's Texas, but nope, it's Omaha.
Omaha. All
Omaha,
right.
specifically Omaha. That went down with the trade treaty. So,
I thought they closed all the plants.
huh?
I thought they closed all the plants in the Midwest.
Well, they closed all of the manufacturing plants in the Rust Belt,
Oh, okay.
but in the breadbasket, they grow four things: corn, wheat, and corn-fed white guys.
Oh, okay.
You know,
You live, you learn.
yeah.
Things you learn.
And you buy diapers.
And you buy diapers.
Yeah, its old slogan used to be: "You live, you learn, you get loves."
Ah,
You know, kind of implying that most kids in the '70s were accidents. Anyway, to the
I can see
subject.
that.
To the subject of today's show. Um, Painting. Now, last week we talked about color wheel and a lot of color theories. So next is, once you have discovered what colors you would like to use, you know, if you look at your model and you go, I have a picture in my head for what this model would look like, right?
Right.
So like you got a beholder and you're going, I want this beholder to have reptilian scales. Or you'll have an elf and you're like, I want to paint this elf up to be like an angel.
sure.
And then step one, priming.
Yep.
With all of the different types of primers out there are to use. And funny thing, for those of you guys watching this video for the first time, I'm not a great painter. Okay, one of these days I'll take pictures and I'll put up pictures of what I've actually painted, and they're okay, I suppose. You know, I paint them for play. You know, I just get them table ready. But when I was learning to paint, I went to art supply stores, hardware stores, auto parts stores. There are so many different types of primers out there.
There are a lot of different primers out there. And when you're priming a model, PSA, if you're working with Reaper bones, wash them first. Last night I realized when I was about to start painting, I have some Krakens I was going to paint up for Reaper bones.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm doing the I was using this as a test, like a color bed to test the colors for my Krakens and for my other Cthulhu statue that I'm going to be working on. And Reaper bones, if you don't wash them first, they put some kind of coating, the protective coating on, so the primer rubs off.
Oh.
So now I had to put them all in green stuff, and now when I go home from here, I got to finish scrubbing all the primer and paint off that I already put on there.
I'm going to clarify one thing you said, as not to confuse the guys out there.
What's that?
He didn't cover it in green stuff. He did not cover it in plastic. He's talking simple green.
Sorry, simple green.
Yes.
Yeah, I dunked it in a bucket of simple green.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Simple green.
Thank you. Yeah. Green. I was working with green stuff yesterday too, but
Yeah.
I was putting extra eyeballs on my Krakens before I realized I had to put them in simple green. See how it gets mixed up?
Yeah, no,
But
I get it.
yeah, a lot of green going on. But yeah, so primers though, really you can't go too wrong. I used Krylon primer from like Walmart for the longest time. Recently I've switched over. I think I'm using Army Painter, but
Okay.
as soon as that rattle can's dead, I'm just airbrushing my primer because I have an airbrush.
Yeah. And again, simple green for use of cleaning most of your mistakes. Be
Yeah.
them miniatures or your bathroom, you have an accident, simple green is the stuff that we use to clean up mostly everything.
Yeah, you should definitely. I recommend having it on hand. It's supposed to be environmentally friendly too. I don't know. I haven't looked into all whether it's environmentally friendly or not, but it says it is. I'm gonna take it as word.
It is actually.
I hear.
One of
I haven't looked into it too much.
One of our oldest deckers actually swears by simple green, and you know, for most of the cleaning things. And I'm like, I don't know, you're talking like pretty hardcore about this, but I know what you do for a living. And then the dude like practically took a shot of the stuff. It's that safe.
Wow.
And when I say practically took a shot, it was half a shot. It was like a bottle cap full, and he's just glunk. It's simple green. And
I'm
like,
not gonna drink simple green, but good on that guy.
but you can, is my point.
Yeah,
You
that's
can.
crazy. That's crazy.
It won't
Good.
kill you. It won't
Probably-
give you gurgles. You know.
Probably make your stool come out a different color, but
Well,
maybe a little green.
that would be pretty simple. Zing.
Ah.
But like you were saying, you had to simple green them. And
Yeah. So, but almost any primer you can't really go too wrong. I've heard a lot of people say auto primers are good. You can do auto primers, I suppose. I think they're thicker. So the advantage of going with a thicker primer, and this is like the only advantage I can think of, is because it's thicker, it will give you more potential durability on the paint job. However, where you run into the problem is if you're not super careful about applying a thin layer, you're going to lose potentially detail on your model, which
Lots of detail.
really bad.
Yeah.
So I would not recommend auto primer.
Okay.
I would not recommend it personally. I would say like the Krylons you can get from
Lowe's, and
Lowe's,
Home Depot.
Michaels, Home Depot, Walmart. If you go to Michaels or Joann's, you can find primers in their modeling section that are a little more friendly to models because they're for models. You can go, if you're fortunate enough to have a local gaming store, a lot of gaming stores carry miniatures. So you got, it's not all, a lot do. So you got to check them out, and a lot offer, if they're carrying minis, a lot carry paint. But that's maybe a little more expensive. Like my Army Painter rattle cans are, I think, $8 a can versus the Krylons are like $4 a can.
Yeah.
But I get a really smooth, bubble-free, I don't need to worry about the environment with that Army Painter. It's just like, where are you going to do it?
Yeah. You
Smells
get what you
pretty
pay
bad,
for.
though. But yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
so you're paying a little better for it.
What
Or paying a little more, you get better quality.
Are you saying spray paint actually smells bad? Oh my god.
Some people huff all kinds of weird chemicals, and I smell chemicals, and I'm like, I don't want to smell that. Like, I put a respirator on, or I have a hood I work under all the time, so the hood pulls all the air out, all the chemical air out through a filter. So, yeah, and if I don't have that, I work with a respirator, because, man, you only get one set of lungs. What are you gonna do? You can't mess it up.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the funny thing about priming, okay, when I first started painting, I started with, I really started, like, of course I tried painting toys, I tried doing Gundam models back in the 90s when they were $10 for the 1/16 scale.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I wish I had some. I wish I had some.
Well, next time I go down to Little Tokyo, they might still be, they might be up to $15.
Ooh, hit me up. I'll take a Gundam for 15.
Yeah, but I really started learning how to paint under the tutelage of Norm Lau from the Blood of Kings podcast and from the new Doctor Who 40th podcast. And seriously, I really started with War Machine and Privateer Press when it first came out in 2003. And boy, those models were terrible. So terrible. I used glitter paint. It looked like there I was, a 20-something-year-old man, like pushing 30 in 2003, and my stuff looked like an arts and crafts experiment from an elementary school, which was great for a 10-year-old. Fantastic. But not for a college graduate, unless the college graduate says, I don't care about the way that they look. And, I used a lot of, I'm like, hey, I play the Protectorate of Minoff, and they're white. They're whites and tans and browns and beige. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just prime these things and then spray paint them white real quick, and then add a few things, and man, they're not shiny enough, so I'm going to use glitter spray paint. Yeah, that'll get the shine going. Unfortunately, they were stolen off a bus. Later on, I tried, evolving the techniques, and this leads to the next point. If you're, whatever paint you're using, unless you're using a really, really thick paint that you can't thin, always try and prime a color that is on the same side of the color wheel as your paint, i.e. hot or cold. Because I will tell you that there are many who can. I cannot paint white over black primer.
I do it all the time. It's easy. It takes patience. It's patience. But you can definitely do it. Again, do
I look like a nurse?
Yeah, well. Like I said in our first show, I always paint over black.
Okay.
I've always done it that way, and I'm just really stubborn. I don't want to learn a new method.
Racist. What? I always paint over black.
So
it starts black and I have to make it something else.
Yeah, you could always work with gray. Like if you just want to buy one primer color, you can work with gray. That will allow you to go up or down.
Big on gray.
Yeah. It's. I need to switch to gray, but I'm just stupid and stubborn. I'm just like, no, I don't. I like my. But it's really gray's the way to go, I think. Like if I were to recommend somebody else to get into the hobby, I was recommended black. I picked up black and stayed with it. I know people who work with white, And then I know a lot of people who have switched to gray or have been using gray. And if you're going to get into it right now, I would say pick up gray.
Yeah.
Just start there. It opens up the world of possibilities. You can paint up and down really easily. For me to go from black to white takes multiple coats. And when you're learning how to thin your paints and you don't thin your paints correctly for like, 50 or 60 figures, and you don't thin your paints at all, and you just paint white on white on white, and you get this really nice thick detailless block that you once had a model under. That's my entire Protectorate army by comparison to my current standards. It's just, it's just caked in paint because I didn't know what I was doing.
I get that.
Yeah, so if you're not sure about what you're doing, about like thinning your paints, look it up on YouTube. They say the consistency of milk for airbrushing, right? That's for the airbrush paint. You want the consistency of milk. What the hell is the consistency of milk? Are we talking 2%, 1%, fat-free or whole milk? Well, because they all have different consistencies. So I'm assuming they mean whole milk. That's an assumption.
I'm lactose intolerant, so
you'd probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
Consistency of milk. So water?
Yeah. No, it's a little thicker, just a little bit. But then it's like, if you don't have that frame of reference, then, well, how do you get it? Well, thankfully there's YouTube, and YouTube will show you this. And actually, when I was doing the video, I was recording a video when I was painting the dice tower.
Don't worry, guys. We'll put it up on the Back in the Deck YouTube
when it's ready.
Yeah,
soon, TM. But yeah, so I tried to work through like, oh, this is what you're gonna do, but then I was like, I'm only airbrushing. Well, I hope you wanted to learn about airbrushing. So, but when I got to the point where I painted the eyes, I did talk about it, and I talked about the wet palette in there, and the one I built. Like I showed the one I built, and the one I use, and like it's $3 to go get it. It's real easy. And it's super. I never going back off a wet palette after using it. But yeah, so again, primer I would recommend to anyone getting into painting or haven't tried it yet. Do gray. Try gray. Do it. I need to just get off my horse and start doing it. But I'm stubborn. But anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Well, like now we're talking about this stuff, and this is only for beginners, because as you advance, you will start noticing the difference in colors depending on what your primer color was. There literally is a world of difference, especially if you're doing metallics and bright colors, of what a gold looks like if you primed in white. It's much more vibrant, much bigger. All metallics are, and
it might ruin your preconceived notion of what the color you want was.
Yeah, and
so got to be careful.
But yeah, like the darker the undercoat, the darker whatever is coming out on. It may seem like a no-brainer to people who already know this, but to the uninitiated,
yeah, I didn't know this for a long time.
Yeah, Juan Punto, one of our guys, he's in I believe he's in Colorado right now. He was able to look at my minis, and he's like, "Oh, you primed in white, didn't you?" I'm like, "How did you know that? You just build radios for the Marine Corps. How do you know these things with all of your weird color sorcery?" And he's like, "You'll figure it out one day. I don't feel like talking to you about it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." And of course I would get like another Protectorate thing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make this jack now. I'm gonna prime it in black and see what happens. And I saw the difference in the metallic colors. Now the types of paint that we try and use when we're doing brushing: number one, not oil. Oil for
stay away from oil.
Long time. Acrylic paint, as we talked about last in one of our previous shows, acrylic paint is generally what's used for minis. And for a lot of sculptures, it's really versatile. Oil,
well, it used to be used.
Leave that to the pros. And when I say oil, I specifically mean testers. And we'll be going over, because we're going to be doing like pre-recorded footage and all that stuff later on as our production schedule gets better and our equipment gets better. I've tried using testers on minis before. And that in itself, I'm not going to say it sucked, or I'm not going to say it's terrible. What I will say is that using oil paints for miniatures is an entire skill set that requires study and practice. Lots and lots of practice.
Yeah, I know there's one guy on Twitch. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he's an older guy. He's been painting minis for a long ass time. He's a professional commission artist.
Oh, okay.
And he
So
paints,
he's unconsciously competent.
yeah. And he works with oil
Mhm.
paints all the time, and it's really interesting. And I sometimes I see him, like I follow different subreddits dedicated to painting minis and whatnot. Sometimes I see people who paint their minis, and you can, when you start to understand what oil painting looks like on minis, you start to see, oh, I see you painted this with oil. Or like I saw somebody last night, they posted up a miniature and they're like, oh, comment and critique. And I like to throw in positive comments. I'm trying to always get people to keep painting because I want to see pretty models, because it inspires me to paint my models to make them pretty. But yeah, I saw this one dude. I'm like, oh, that's non-metallic or non-metal metallic. That's a really cool technique. I want to get better at it. Cool, and things like that. So you start to pick it up with time and patience and practice, and the more you get exposed to these different methods and whatnot, you'll start to see them more. But oil painting, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could jump in on it. But if you're learning to paint minis, you already have a learning curve to go through.
Mhm.
Why are you making it harder? Like you're
Right.
going to get great results out of acrylics. Oils, you can, but it's going to take you probably a little bit longer unless you're really familiar already with oil painting and you're transferring that soft skill set over.
Right.
So-
So, and by the way, I just had a really embarrassing moment.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm sitting up looking at the dashboard,
We're not.
and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't Buster Recap. Why didn't you guys tell me? I'm
Well,
like,
we're-
this is Hobby Hall.
Yeah, we're busting a recap on what we did all week.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that's not working. So I'm just gonna reload one of our pages here, because I'm like, yeah, Buster Recap. Oh no, we're Hobby Hall. Yeah, that's what we are. All right,
I hope so. I'm here to talk about Hobby Hall stuff related to content.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Keyframe frequencies, a whole bunch of that jazz. Yeah, well, you know what? As much as I hate to say it, we'll fix it in post. So
Yeah, we're
at-
live.
At the end of the day, welcome to live transmission with, I would say that's something we should have gone over in rehearsal.
Yeah, well,
But it's okay.
if only I were here.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Pinky Toe.
So as now, we talked about that stuff, and one of the big techniques that really are there across the board, be it brush, and airbrush,
Mm-hmm.
is of course prime, base coat, and then detail.
I'm gonna call it technical, but yeah, detail.
Yeah.
So the reason why I say technical is because you're gonna, if you start getting into hobby paints and whatnot,
Mhm.
when you move to hobby paints for minis and stuff, you're gonna see some.
Now you mean like train sets and
well, I'm talking
model cars?
I'm
and-
talking more specifically to miniatures.
Okay.
But I think some of this can translate.
Mhm.
So I know a lot of the like the car models, the car train stuff came to miniatures because that's
Right.
originally what we had.
Well, yeah.
But then Games Workshop, Privateer Press, they've developed their own lines, and then Games Workshop calls them technical paints. And then there's different companies that are coming out like secret weapon paints, miniatures, something like that.
Okay.
I sorry guys if you're Secret Weapons fans, but Secret Weapons something or another, and they have a line of technical paints and weathering paints.
Mhm.
So I just lump all the detail paints into
Mhm.
technicals
Okay.
because I call it, you have your base,
Mhm.
you have your layers, and then you have your technicals.
Right.
Your layers, I include edge and layers.
Okay.
So I'll go through all of this as we go. But yeah, so you're going to start with your prime, and that's your base. That's your base color you're going to work off of. If you are really trying to save some time and you're willing to spring a few bucks, you can get all kinds of weird colors in primer. So I know, for example, I was really tempted to buy a Games Workshop rattle can that was blue, and I'm painting my army blue, and I was like, ooh, can I just get the primer down and just work some highlights into this? And then I decided, no, I like black better. And I decided to go through the pain in the ass of painting blue on top of black and trying to make it bright. But anyways, yeah, so that's the primer, and then you're going to put down your base coats. So I have this here, I'm going to point to it. So your base coats are going to be darker. So if you see, it may be hard. Okay, if you're looking at this picture, look at the picture on back of the deck. It'll be easier. The darker spots are typically... Oh, thank you. You're going to be so kind. You're going to load it up.
Yes, I'm being that guy.
So let's look at the tentacles is what I'm talking about. If you're looking at the tentacles, some of those dark spots, not the deepest dark spots, but some of the darker spots are my base coat. What I did is I put the base coat down. Okay, so when you see my tutorial, I did this one a little out of whack, but I'm going to talk about what I typically do. What I typically do is I'll put down all the base colors. I'll put down all the blue, it came out to be green, but that wasn't what it started out. It came out as a what's called coal black, and it's this deep black blue green color.
Oh no, wait! I was about to say, you didn't prime it black, but then I remember
that was before primer.
Yeah, I primed.
Oh,
it.
I primed over it actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know if he primed it, and I was looking inside, and you primed inside really well, which just confused me. Because I was like, well, inside it looks like it's the same color, so maybe he didn't prime. I'm gonna go ahead and prime it black. So I worked off black like normal. It was really comfortable for me though. But yeah, so I'd lock in all the base colors. So the dark purples, the dark blues, the dark greens. And you don't want to go super dark. So when I'm picking colors on my color wheel, or if I'm just like eyeballing colors I want to try, I try to find the color I want to be the main color.
Your star color.
Sure, we'll call it whatever you want. But then you're going to go up a color, a shade. You're going to go a shade lighter. Then you're also going to go a shade darker. Okay? There's multiple ways we can achieve the darker and the lighter, but because I'm lazy, will buy the 3 colors.
Okay.
So I'll pick blue, sky blue, and royal blue, for example.
As you can see with the different shades of green going across the spinal column and all that jazz.
Yeah, that's actually only 2 shades of green on the spinal, but like I said, the darkest color on there is that coal black, which is technically not a green. It's technically a black, but it's on there, and that's what I built my greens off, because I wanted this really dark jade-looking green. Because I always envisioned Cthulhu not to be this bright green. I always envisioned it to be this dark green. And my thing is, again, I was using this as a test bed for a color scheme for my army.
Pink. Yeah.
Pink. A lot of pink in my army. And so I didn't want to do them all green. Like, right. I know Cthulhu is traditionally green, but I was like, no, look, I got this really cool idea in my head, and I want to try it out. So I did. And I'm pretty happy with the results. But, yeah, so you lock in all the base colors, and then you have a couple options of how to go. You can, and I haven't done this yet, but I know, like, Duggernaut does it, and I know some other folks in the community do it. But what you can do is you can varnish it at that stage. After all your base colors are laid down, you can varnish it. What is varnishing? It's putting a clear coat on top of your mini. It's 2 purposes. 1, it'll smooth out the surface area of the mini. 2, more importantly to me, it'll protect the mini from being chipped. Plastic doesn't chip that much. Still varnish your damn mini. Keep it protected. Keep it nice. Bonus, it locks the colors in better. It helps blend them together.
Okay.
It doesn't eliminate you from doing the work. It helps.
Yeah.
It helps. It'll help smooth out some gradients and transitions. I don't do that at this stage. I varnish at the final stage typically.
Okay.
Then what I would do, I would then do highlights. Why highlights? Because if I do my highlights next, and this is like the cheating methods. This is not going to win me a competition. This is going to get me a pretty model to put on the table. Cheating methods are really great. Competition methods, they're different. We're not going to talk about them right now because I'm not going to misquote myself all day because I don't know the proper way to do it. But this is what I do. Like I said, I put the base coat down. I'm going to hit the highlights next. Those are my really bright spots. Sometimes they're edge highlights where you're tracing like the panel on a truck or vehicle. And then sometimes they're more natural blending. I see a lot of people scared of natural blending, but don't be. Especially if you have an airbrush. It's child's play with an airbrush. But even if you're going to do blending with a brush, there's a technique called wet blending. And it's complicated, but it's not that complicated. It takes patience. Everything in minis, most hobbies really, is patience. So if you're patient and give yourself time, you're going to be fine. Like, for example, I set aside the goal of 10 hours to work on this Cthulhu, and I wanted to put those 10 hours, because I had the time on the summer break, between shows. It took me 4 hours to paint this.
Okay.
So, airbrush speeds me up a lot. Some people are going to struggle with airbrush. At first, it quadrupled the amount of time because I couldn't get the paint to flow through. And, again, when that video comes up, trademark
Learning
soon.
Curve,
Yeah. When that's done, I go over some of this in that video, but it'll be there.
Right.
Did you want to
Well,
say something?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, time, tick tick.
Yep.
So yeah, but a lot of other stuff for detail work. I'm a big fan of once you've got your base coat down, and yeah, varnish after the base coat. Okay, always varnish after the base coat, because if nothing else,
You lock in the base coat.
you lock in the base coat and you can play with that.
Yep.
That's practically table ready.
Yep.
And then I super cheat. I'm a big fan of inking and dry brushing.
So
Um,
when you say inking,
yes.
you can definitely dry brush. When you're saying inking, do you mean shading or do you mean actual ink?
I mean, if you have the cash for actual ink, grab the ink. If you don't, I take the two main colors I ink with are black and brown, all depending on what I'm inking.
Sure.
I do a wash or an ink in brown a lot
Mhm.
with my Protectorate miniatures, because I do love the white and gold. I make
Yep.
that gold bling 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 bling. But when I'm using silver, I dry brush in black.
Yeah.
Or not dry brush, but ink and black.
Ink, yep.
And talk to them for a hot minute.
Yeah. So what he's talking about, you totally blocked me, dude. Anyways. Well, yeah, what he's talking about is when you're doing this, the shading, when you're doing that, or the inking, you're going to get this ink or this shade to go down into the crevices, and it's going to bring that color to a darker point. The thing is, if you're, depending on how you do it and how careful you are, if you're doing detailed inking where you're putting the ink where you want it to be, or you're just brushing the whole model with ink, you're going to bring the colors that you have potentially down. Where the ink touches is going to stain it that color to a degree. So that's why if you're working on greens, browns, and even if like darker like blacks, you could use brown. It's a really versatile color. You can use it for yellows and oranges. Just the darker the brown, the more you're going to shift the hue of that color under it. When you varnish it, though, because you smoothed out the mini, it's going to flow and be real smooth and real easy to work with, and it's going to look nice. So that's an advantage of varnishing early.
Exactly.
You can varnish
Now-
multiple times, by the way.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing that says you can't varnish after every color you put down if you want.
Yeah, we've got Nick Hurst is like, I used to play minis games and no one ever told me varnish was an option.
You should, dude. Sorry. Well, we weren't there yet. Now I'm telling you,
Actually,
varnish is an option.
I just didn't know at the time.
Oh yeah, I'm learning some of this stuff as I go too.
But yeah, so
A
what
lot
I'm
of this
talking
stuff.
about is ink. Look, it's an ink pod. If I had a fountain pen, be ink. And one of the things I do is, like, literally, I will take like a Dixie cup and I will turn the sink on to a little bitty dribble, like that annoying I keep you awake at night dribble, and I'll just run the Dixie cup underneath. Whoa, run it up. And then I'll take the ink and I start with a drop of the ink.
Yeah.
One drop, no more than 3 drops, depending on when I'm doing model inking or when I'm trying to make my golds pop, because yellow ink, I go over all my gold in yellow ink, and it turns it from, hey, it's gold, to, oh my god, are you an elf? And but when it comes to the dark inking, one or two, I believe this is like a chestnut brown or something, and I got this from an art supply store for about $7. Okay, and I had to replace this because, one, it's a glass bottle. I'm big on glass bottles because the plastic ones, for some reason, things dry.
Yeah.
But one glass bottle of this ink has lasted about 6 years.
Yeah. I
When it
believe
comes to ink. So
ink goes a long way.
Yeah, a little dabble do ya. There was some stuff, I forgot who it was by, called Smoke. And it was like, Smoke. And it did
I know
this.
what you're talking about, but I
Yeah.
can't remember. If Duggernot's in chat, he probably knows. He's like, it's this.
No, he's not in chat right now.
Duggernot.
Yeah, I think he's like protesting because he wants this show or whatever.
I think he's running around with a
Kidding,
kid.
Kidding.
But
Yeah, exactly. Running around with a kid and probably like...
and protesting the show.
a headache.
Yeah.
Spending time with your children instead
How
of watching
dare you.
us. You father.
How dare you father?
Yeah, but and essentially what happens is you use the ink, and there's a chemical reaction with the ink that makes the water evaporate faster once they're mixed together, because I believe it's like an alcohol solution or something. But what happens is you drop the ink onto the model, and the ink goes into those tiny, tiny cracks and crevices that are like a micron or 2 microns thick. We're talking folds in clothing. We're talking, if you take a look at the model.
I think that's how you pronounce it, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I don't have 9 tongues, okay? But if you take a look at all of those scales, it is possible to go in to all of those scales with a brush and go, I'm going to make this a little bit darker.
If you're insane. Yeah.
Well, you know, it is Cthulhu. Or ink. You just take your brush and let gravity do the work, and the ink particles will actually stick to the primer or the varnish and hold on. So you get this sort of spray paint, a spray paint like coverage from using gravity as your friend, and it brings out the details around. So it makes the elevateds a little bit higher by making the crevices darker.
Yeah, it's completely an optical illusion.
And it's an amazing one.
It's like the quickest way to go from, I paint a mini, I don't know why it doesn't look good. Did you shade it? That's the immediate next step. Did you apply ink or shade? Ink and shade are basically the same thing in a lot of ways, but shade is ink that's already been pre-set up. You can take it out of the pot and go.
Right.
Ink, you customize how thick you want it. So if you want to get more technical and have more control of what you're doing, ink. If you're lazy and you're like, I want blue ink and I want green ink and I want purple ink, you just buy the shades you want and throw it on.
Exactly.
So I use shades because I'm lazy, and it's about the same price as the ink, but I go through my shade faster than you're going to go through your ink by a huge volume.
Right. Now, the second technique that I adore, and this is one of the last detail techniques because we're in our last half hour, is a technique that I learned from, I believe, the owner of the Dice House in Fullerton. It was either him or Norm Lau, and it's called dry brushing. And dry brushing has one amazing effect. However, it also has a penalty. And for those of you guys that are like me, grew up poor, still are poor, don't have much monies. Can I see the? Yeah. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I need to see the. Okay. Dry brushing is very simple. You take a brush. Hello, brush.
Preferably a flat one like the one you're holding.
Yeah. Now, this brush is very coarse. It's very flat, and it's very, very, very cheap. And that's the price you have to pay for dry brushing, because when you dry brush any model, the technique itself will tear your brushes to shreds.
Yep.
So what I'm holding in my hand, I bought from Ace Hardware for 50 cents.
I'm going to Ace and stocking up. That's great.
Okay. And you essentially take your pigment, your paint, and of course you thin it down, but then you lay your brush on top of a paper towel and let all of the liquid, or as much liquid as possible, be wicked out of the hairs. So your brush is almost dry. And then you very carefully place the tip of the brush on top of the model, and then you brush it like you're 5 years old. Over and over and over and over and over. And what happens is, as long as you barely touch, you're getting these light colors, and you have to use lighter colors. And what I mean by lighter colors is this. You take your varnished base coat, right? If you still have that paint, go to your paint pot, put in a few drops of, a few drops of the paint that you used into your little easel that you get at the Dollar Tree for $1, or a tree. I'm not sure what they take as currency.
I wonder if I gave them a twig, if they would give me a pallet. Anyway.
You then add 1 drop of white. Just 1 drop of white. We're talking a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 ratio. for your dry brushing. You might not be able to see a difference in the color in the palette, but I promise as soon as the paint is on the model, you'll see the different shade. And as you're taking this almost unnoticeably lighter paint and you're brushing it on in an unnoticeably soft manner over and over and over and over and over again, what happens is astounding. After about 5 or 6 different passes, and when you first start, you can do one miniature about yay size in about 10 minutes. And as you get used to it, you'll be able to do a miniature this size in about 1 minute. The learning curve is not very steep.
I'm gonna tell you the hack way to do this. You're doing it the old school way, which is great because that's the fundamentals and the technical.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna show you how to sheet it. So this is my paper towel, let's say. So you pick paint on your brush, wipe that off, just wipe it off, then
go a little higher.
Oh, okay. You just wipe it off into the
towel,
napkin.
yeah.
Then on your hand, brush gently. If paint's coming off, but not a lot, just a little bit, like you're kind of applying makeup, you have the right amount on your brush. Then, like you say, you go, and you're gonna be just barely touching the model like a 5-year-old. Just going, just going, just going. That's correct, absolutely. But yeah, just to get it off the brush and make sure you're right. Just try it on your hand. And if you're using acrylics, it's water based. It'll wash off later. Just a little effort. So don't worry about your. Oh,
but
no.
Don't drink it.
Don't drink it. That's really bad for you. But yeah, so when what you're talking about absolutely happens, and there's, like I said, I choose a different color because I buy a shade color higher and a shade darker for different purposes. But yeah, the other thing you can do is you can add white to it. So for example, the greens, this is the same green. It's hard to see, but if you look at the... Here, flip
your hand out.
I don't know if that's going to work. If you look, you can see it's noticeably brighter in the center of these runes. It's a glow effect I was going for. It's the same green, but I added white to the green to get it brighter so that it would look like it's glowing in the center like a light bulb, kind of.
Yes,
a little bit. So, and that's not on those pictures, unfortunately. Like I said, I hadn't completely finished. Oh yeah, good examples right there on dig Duggernaut. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be able to talk about it in the radar dish in a second here.
Yeah.
Boom, there it is. So in the radar dish, that green, that's the same green I use, by the way. It's P3 Necrotite green.
Mm-hmm.
And then he adds a little bit of white to it, and he he gets the middle with a little bit of white.
Right there, and that gives sort of a glowing effect.
Yeah, and so it's
right there.
You're not going to have a glow effect when you're dry brushing because it's not going to be as concentrated as the glow effect is. The glow effect's the same kind of concept with the white and the lightening the paint, but you're going to concentrate it a lot more when you're doing OSL, object source lighting is what that stands for. Yeah, but when you're doing dry brushing, nah, you're just going to hit it. And what's going to be cool, dry brushing is phenomenal on metals.
Oh yeah.
It's great on everything, but it's phenomenal on metals because it really brightens that metal, and if you want your metal to shine like it's getting glinted in the sunlight,
or
that's
space.
Or space.
Space.
So yeah,
I bring up the space thing because the first example that I really saw of dry brushing, and this was way back in the early aughts, someone, I think it was Necrons. They had either Necrons or some sort of Zerg looking things.
Okay, it might have been Tyranids then.
Tyranids, yes, yeah, that's exactly what it was. I don't play Warhammer, guys, I'm sorry. But they had Tyranids, and essentially, what they did was they got a nice, like, automotive purple.
Okay.
And they spray painted their whole army purple. Like, it took maybe an hour. They put them in a box and they went shh, and then they turned them over and went shh, and I'm like, well, that's kind of quick. And then they're like, okay, and then they picked up the Necrons.
Tyranids.
Tyranids. They took up the Tyranids, and then they dipped this crappy brush into Games Workshop Mithril Silver.
Oh yeah.
And they wiped it off. And then they went blah, 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 blah. And then they took like a red and a toothpick and went eyes, and finished the entire squadron. And when they
And
went,
we're at 3-color minimum.
Yeah, that 3-color minimum that we talked about last
Yep.
week.
And it's good to go, and it probably looked pretty good for the compared to the effort amount put
Truth
into
be
it.
told, it was great.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, it's that easy. I didn't have to use glitter spray paint, and sure enough,
You didn't have to use glitter spray paint.
yeah, and sure enough, so after that, $300 in War Machine miniatures got stolen off of a bus, and I had to rebuild my collection. I think, again, Norm Lau of Blood of Kings podcast was like, dude, we're talking night and day. Just night and day. It was, my models came out so much better looking. So much better looking. I was thinning my paints a lot more. I picked a metallic blue instead of a regular blue and did all that stuff. I used a metallic blue so it had an automatic shine.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was a Games Workshop blue, or it might have been Duplicolor. I'm not sure which one.
I'm not sure.
And then I did the things I just told you about: inking, dry brushing, finishing, table ready, done. That was it. And to this day, all the models that I paint, I use that technique because, again, I'm not that great, nor do I want to be. I just want table ready.
Well, that's fine.
I'm holding stuff up here. This is Blade from HeroClix. And when I talk to people about this game, which we are about to blow so much money on HeroClix next week.
Oh yeah, Comic-Con, yeah, for sure.
Not just Comic-Con, but the latest set is Batman the Animated Series.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, so am I.
I want that cartoon Batmobile.
Oh man,
I hope it's in the set. I don't know if it is.
I don't. Well, might be a Comic-Con exclusive. I'd have to check WizKids.com.
Okay. Are they going to be at Comic-Con?
Huh?
Last time I went, I didn't even.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know about HeroClix last time I went, so I didn't know to look for them.
Yeah, they've been there every year since 2009. But as I was saying, oh hey Ruthless. Sorry, he's sitting up saying Warhammer 40K was mentioned, and thus I have been summoned. All hail the side grenade pooping emperor.
Well, you know, if you worship a corpse emperor, then yeah, you go ahead. But if you want the real truth of the matter, you go ahead and you follow Zinch. He'll show you the way. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and the rest of the transmission has been translated into Greek for those of you in the back. Now, when I talk to people online, they're like, those miniature jobs suck and they have terrible paint. I'm like, why not repaint them? And I forgot which model it was. No, I took one of the big ones because they had Giganto from Fantastic Four #1, which was a Jack Kirby monster.
Mm-hmm.
And I grabbed that thing and I'm like, it's really dull green. And I used the dry brushing and the inking techniques on this thing. And then I held it next to another one they still had over at Majestics. And I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks a lot better. So just a quick just a quick dry brushing again with miniature rescue, like we talked about last week. When you're adopting miniatures, sometimes you can see someone had a decent paint job, and using just a couple of easy techniques like dry brushing, highlighting, inking, you can actually save these miniatures, get them table ready, or you can strip them all the way down and start from the top. It's all up to you. I mean, seriously, it really is all up to what you want to do with your toys, because they're your toys, they're your figures, you're playing with your toys. You know?
And there's another technique. There's more techniques than what we just mentioned. Like there's like I said, wet blending earlier.
Oh yeah, wet blending.
And then wet blending lends itself to glazing.
Okay.
And like I glazed the eyeballs for the statue, which what the hell does that mean? You can't tell. What that means is I didn't want a wet blend. I wanted to be lazy, so I took a glaze and I covered the two colors because it's orange and a yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So the yellow is just a ring around the iris, and the orange is the rest of the eyeball. And so I was like, cool, put the orange down, ring the iris with the yellow, and then hit the whole thing with glaze. And the glaze is it's not as thin as an ink or a shade, but it's thin like an ink or a shade, but it's because it's thicker like a sauce or a glaze. it sticks better. It doesn't go down to the crevices. It stays where you put it.
Okay.
And then it shades the yellow down, and it brings the darker orange, because I picked the shade in between the colors, brings it up, and then now it looks more like a smooth transition. And it literally, I just went with the glaze and just did no effort, just put it on, and it took care of it. But that's a technical. This is what I'm saying. Like, there's technical paints out there, and if you're trying to up your game from, I have my boots are black, my jeans are blue, and my shirt is red. If you want to go, oh yeah, your shirt's red, but I can see the recesses of the shadows, inks. If you want to go, oh yeah, my shirt's red, but it's really bright where the light's catching it, dry brush or highlights. Or you can do dry brushing is highlighting. It's a technique of highlighting.
Correct.
Or you can do like I do, which is the manual highlighting, because I moved from dry brushing too. But it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing metals, I'm dry brushing that bitch. Sorry for language. But yeah, and then you can go into glazes and stuff like that and get into real technicals. So, but yeah, to start off, man, paint your boots, paint your pants, paint your shirt. Then you can decide whether you want to varnish or not. Then you can decide whether you want to shade or not. Then you can, I like to highlight then shade, because of I use a brighter color for the highlight, and then the shade brings it back down to a reasonable color. Because I go really bright on my highlights, and then I use the shade to knock it down to bring it back into realism.
Okay.
So, and it's a cheater method. It's not going to win me a competition, but it's going to make my stuff look pretty at a distance. If you get real close, you're like, oh, you're a cheater. I'm a cheater. But when you're looking at it, it's probably, oh, it's pretty cool. It is. Just stay away. Don't look too close. But if you want to get super close for the technical, for the competition,
right,
that's slightly different. But man, when I'm playing minis, they're on a table, and I'm standing up, and I'm looking. I'm not picking up the mini and going, this is great. Now, afterwards, if you give me permission to look at your model, I'll happily pick up your model and look at it. I love looking at people's paint jobs.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to see what people do with things.
You're going to get a nosebleed when you look at Pickled Dragon stuff, I promise you.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not sure what of his stuff is actually like NDA or copywritten and stuff, but I'll show you off screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
But, so yeah, so again, this is your stuff. There's lots of YouTube tutorials out there. Or hopefully, if we did our job pretty well, you can listen to us and go, well, I guess I would like to try that thing. And, you know, you could come out with some really fun stuff. I would love it if you guys would post some pictures, let us know what you're doing, join Deckers on the book, and all that jazz. But we have to get into our last segment for today, which we touched on a little bit, which is that nice and kind thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice and kind. Ooh, doggy. So yeah, I think it was, well, someone on the Twitter account put up the thing about they have a hard time knowing when to be nice, specifically to guys, because they might take it as flirtatious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And here's the gig. One, my thing is never be nice to guys, but be kind to men. And I differentiate between guys and men because I'm kind of that guy.
Sure, okay.
But I thought about that, and I'm like, kindness or niceness? And what we posted. Thank you, Ruthless. Yeah. So what I checked out and what I thought about, and I'm like, you know what? I notice, and what you brought up earlier goes directly into what Back in the Deck posted, which was the difference between nice and kind is external and internal. Nice is done from the impetus or inspiration to not cause harm.
Okay.
Kind is willing to cause harm to do good. And I know you're looking like, I don't know about this.
I'm not sure if I'm 100% on these definitions. Go sell me on this. Sell me on this.
So, you brought up earlier, someone says, oh yeah, I'm being polite. Yeah, that's interesting. That's this. Mm-hmm. That's being nice. That's not hurting their feelings.
Right.
Kindness is telling the truth when it hurts so someone can get better.
Got it. Okay. Well,
to be kind looks for the larger good. It's to be kind to someone or to be nice to someone is, yeah, well, oh, my girlfriend is calling. I guess she's in an emergency. Date's over. Kind and this is just in a dating context, but this can go over any kind of critique and dealing with family or friends, especially friends, because friends really try to be nice when they need to be kind. Which you don't. I don't.
Yeah, no,
you know?
My friends sometimes don't like me because I give them the truth all the time, whether they want it or not. But you're my friend. You've earned this privilege of hearing me critique you badly.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
The intention is for you to take this information and be able to
grow.
Improve. Yeah, exactly.
Take the information and grow. So being nice is, I don't want to hurt his feelings, so I'm going to pretend that I have to leave this area. Where kind is, this really isn't working out, so I should go. And if you don't want to be platonic, don't call me anymore. Because you got some growth to do.
Yeah.
And that is, yeah, exactly, Vix. And it's called being cruel to be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's
I've heard that song, I think.
Yeah. And I haven't checked the Twitter, and I don't like talking to people on blast like that. No, not on the air, dude. That's bad form. That's very bad taste. That's very bad taste, and sorry. I'm better than that, and you're better than that. And if you're not better than that, you're gonna be.
To flip the camera?
Huh?
To flip the camera?
Oh, you mean to flip the camera to me? I thought you meant flip the thing up.
Oh,
like,
no.
Yeah, I'm
no.
like, no, I'm
so
not
sorry.
Yeah,
no, it's like I'm just staring at the camera like, I'm not talking, you are. Flip the camera, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a different hand signal.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I see what you're going with that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as I was saying, there is a need, and especially for our younger viewers, especially if you're in high school, please understand this. A person's feelings are probably going to be hurt if you tell them something that they don't want to hear. Like, I don't like you. However, sparing their feelings and not being true to who you are does more damage to all parties involved. You're not living sincerely to yourself, and you are lying to that person in order for them to not have their feelings hurt, but they don't grow. And here at BidP, we do believe, actually, we have yet to disprove that growth is possible without pain. Growth is impossible. There is no such thing as growth without pain. There's a lot of pain without growth. But there really is no, when you work out to get stronger, you're going to be sore. When you growing up, your bones ache. Yep. Especially over summers where you grow that 3 or 4 inches between 7th and 8th grade. Everything that makes you better is painful. Whether you're painting minis, sculpting clay, working out, learning a new skill, and I promise, the more you study, the more headaches and eye aches there will be.
Oh yeah.
So if you need to be kind, or if you need to tell someone that what they're doing is inappropriate or something that you don't appreciate or don't like, you don't got to be mean about it. You can tell them, okay, what you're doing isn't great. I don't dig it, so I'm not going to be around you, until I see an improvement in your behavior. But you don't have to humor them so that they don't learn. That's not being nice. That's being cruel in the long term. What do you think?
Yeah, you gotta be careful about these kind of things, because you can, if you send them the wrong impression. Some people, man, you give them an inch, they take a mile. Like that expression. Oh no, I'm closer. Some people, that expression carries true. And like you were saying, if you're not being true to yourself, that's been around forever. Shakespeare, to thy own self be true. At least I'm pretty sure that's Shakespeare. It's not a literature guy. So
it was Poe.
Was it Poe?
No.
Oh, don't. Shakespeare. But I was like, oh my gosh, how did I get that so mixed up? But like totally wrong eras. But yeah, you got to be honest with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a really good point you started bringing up towards the end there. That doesn't mean you have to be a dick.
Right.
You can be nice and be like, look, I don't like this behavior, Because there's things that people do. Okay, I ride a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends, when they realize I ride a motorcycle, especially if they are new to riding a motorcycle, are like, let's go riding. And I'm like,
No.
I don't like riding a motorcycle with other people. No offense. Like, you and I both ride motorcycles.
Mhm.
We don't ride together. It's
No.
not because I don't like you. It's because I'm very particular in how I ride.
And
I
you are
ride-
very protective.
I ride to stay alive.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, especially the new riders, like to
Yeah.
peel out. They want to try to do wheelies. And I'm like, you know what? A, I don't want to get pulled over for your antics.
Thank
B,
you.
I don't want to pick you up out of the street.
Or you say pickup, you mean scrape.
Depending. But yeah, there's a good chance there's scraping going on. And I don't want to do that either. I don't want to be around it. Now, if they're willing to go, oh, I didn't know I was doing this stuff. What can I do better? I have
Mhm.
all kinds of ways to help you, and I would love to get you to ride like me, and then I would ride with you. But
Yeah.
I've been riding since 2012, so now we're on, I can do math, 6
18.
years.
Yeah.
I can do math, I promise. So 6 years.
I've been riding
And-
longer than. Well, I am older
Oh,
than
yeah,
you.
yeah.
so-
You've been waiting. Yeah, I only started riding 2012, but
Okay.
in that 6 years, I had one accident because I rode with somebody and I was new, and they took off like a bat out of hell, and I tried to keep up,
Mhm.
and I didn't understand my pacing, and I got into a problem. That guy and I don't ride together anymore,
That
and
is
we
correct.
stopped riding at the time too, because the way he rode made me uncomfortable. I tried to keep up with them, and I tried to make it okay by keeping up with them. And I know this is kind of a weird analogy, but this is what happened, and it kind of makes sense when you think about it. I tried to keep up with them. I tried to do it their way or go along with what they were doing. It put me out of my comfort zone. It put me in literally a dangerous situation.
Mhm.
And why do I say dangerous situation? Because college campuses, people get raped all the time. This
Mhm.
kind of stuff happens. People are getting attacked. This old guy gets hit with a brick in the face by some young girl. Like, what the hell is going wrong in society these days? Some people are crazy.
Careful, you're really
Oh,
getting
okay.
close to getting off my lawning.
Okay, no, we'll go back under the lawning. But so, yeah, you just gotta be cognizant of this kind of stuff. And back on topic more, what if you go into a game store and you're a girl, and you don't want all the guys to hit on you per se? You just want to go in there and learn to play a game.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'll let you run with that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, and it's not like women are ever gawked at when they go into game stores.
Never.
Now they can be nice, but honestly, if they are kind enough to say, "This is making me uncomfortable," and they go to the person on shift and say, "This is making me uncomfortable. I don't know if they're an employee or a customer, but could you curb that stuff, or I'll have to take my business elsewhere." That's being kind. That is being that is informing of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Providing the tools for growth, but still standing up for yourself. And this is in a lot of society, especially those of us who were born deckers, the marginalized, the POC, LGBT, women, rural poor. We're always taught, go along to get along.
Oh, I didn't even
And,
think about that. LGBTQ members, like,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
they face when they go into a game store? I never even thought about that.
Oh man.
I just see a dude or I see a girl because I'm binary like that. Unfortunately, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that
No,
I see a boy or a girl. That's just the way I see things. But yeah, if you walk into a store, are you uncomfortable? Look, I don't want you to be uncomfortable when you come into the store and play a game with me.
Well, that's why
But
you're
that's me.
here.
Yeah, exactly. That's
That's
why, I'm
why
here.
you're one of us.
But how many people are going to give you a hard time? That's especially
Yeah.
in communities where they're a little more narrow-minded at the moment.
Yes.
And hopefully they'll open up. But right now they might be more narrow-minded. What if you're in a really conservative town and you come into the game store and you're LGBTQ?
Mhm.
Well, you might run into some social problems, or
Yeah.
like you're the person that posted on the Twitter.
Mhm. And she was posting about standing up for herself
Well,
when
good. I'm
people are
glad she
used to
stood
her
up for
being
herself.
nice, and the backlash that she got from that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you see, my suggestion is never be nice. Be cordial, be kind,
Okay, I'm with it.
but
yeah.
always stand up for yourself and always be honest.
Yeah.
It's difficult, especially like women have a special difficulty in this society because if they upset people, they're taught that everyone is bigger than they are, and it puts them in physical danger, if not financial, if not if not social danger. Like their survival is based on whether or not people like them. You know,
That's yeah.
and it is very difficult. Again, that's why we're here as Deckers
Yeah.
to say, hey, we got your back.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so you know what I say is be kind and let the incels whine. Let the you know, let the people go, well, you don't have to be so mean. That's just Rush. That's just the way he is. Guess what? On backinthedeck.com, we have a list of stores that will be cool to you.
Yeah.
You know, there
Yeah.
are resources out there. And when it comes to people that will throw you away or vilify you for standing up for yourself, you don't need them.
no,
You
absolutely
know,
not.
drop them. If you're even afraid that they might, confront that fear, face that fear honestly. But if they don't, if people go, if people leave you with the option of comply to them or leave, the road is a beautiful place.
Yeah,
and it leads
there's
to
other
so
people.
many gorgeous places.
Turns out there's like 7 billion people on the planet, and not
What?
everyone, not everyone's like that. You know.
What?
Yeah, and I was seeing what we're talking about is I'm thinking it's like, yeah, what happens if you go into a game store, you're getting harassed, you tell the local help, and they're like, nah, we're not gonna do anything about it. That's just Russ or something, you know,
Mhm.
Russ. Sorry if your name's Russ, we're picking on the name Russ today apparently. Or what if that's just Dave? What if I'm just an asshole and no one wants to tell me? Well, then if you don't tell me, if you're not kind to me, you don't
Mhm.
tell me I'm being an asshole, I can't improve.
Exactly.
Number one,
You can't fix what you don't know is broken.
right. That's number one.
Mhm.
Number two, what if they do just, oh, that's just Dave? Well, now, do you feel comfortable coming back to that game store? Like, what happens now? What happens to you? And that's awful. I
Yeah.
don't want to be a part of this problem. I want to be a part of the solution.
Again,
personally.
that's
That's
why
why
you
I'm here.
work here.
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't have tapped you if I didn't know that you were on the
True.
same page.
True.
You know, but yeah, I mean that's a really big thing. So what I say is be kind, and in kindness, well, honesty is much more kindness than the niceness of courtesy.
Yeah.
You know, the niceness of being polite. I don't want to hurt their feelings. Screw their feelings. If they're treating you subhumanly, their feelings do not matter. Now, that does not mean that you stoop to their level and become subhuman. Grace, dignity, and honestly, poise are all signs of internal growth. So be kind to yourself and exemplify that growth in your actions. Okay? And that's Captain America's superpower, because when you externalize those internal good parts, it rubs off on people and makes them want to be better.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And honestly, that right there is how we change everything. You know, that is how we push everything forward.
Yeah, actually, that's how I got back into minis painting, because I was so disappointed with my minis, and then Dig Duggernaut's like, oh, but you're doing great, dude. Just keep doing it. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, this is good, dude. This part that you did is good. Do it like that. Let me show you this. And I was like, cool. And he just kept, he's like, no, painting's great. You can get better. It's easy. Let me show you all these tools. And I got caught up in the infectious nature that he has. He's just like a great hype man. And he's like, yeah. And he,
What?
oh no, what have I started? But yeah, he was just so passionate about painting. I became passionate about painting, and I went from painting these models that were caked in paint to something you may not think it's great. I'm really proud of this. So yeah, like it's night and day. You know, attitude affects everything. And if you have a positive attitude, like you said, it rubs off on other people near around you. If you have a negative attitude, likewise, it'll bring people down.
Right.
So,
So,
it
yeah.
can bring people down. Some
So-
people are just really positive all the time. Good for them.
Yeah. So that's our that's our PSA. That's our you see Timmy moment. You see Timmy, you can be kind to people, but you don't have to let them walk all over you, because you have to be kind to yourself. But with that,
Thanks, Professor.
you got any final words for this episode?
I really just paint and show us your stuff. I want to see what you're working on. I love seeing everyone's stuff. That's pretty much it. Get to work. What about you? What do you got? You always got something to say about putting stuff in decks.
Well, you know, with that, I am gonna say that that is pretty much our show for today. I want to thank you for being here today.
Sorry I was late. It won't happen again, I hope. I only have 2 pinky toes, so I only guess like third time's you're done. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. That is what's going on that front. But I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank the chat. Yeah, thank you guys. Every single time that you guys are here, you always make you guys remind us, hey, we're here, we're doing that. So thanks Pickle Dragon, thanks Vixen, thank you Nick Horst, thank Ruthless Wonder. You know, we're thanking everybody because we're thankful. But also what I have to say is, if you guys have anything that you guys want to say, any questions or compliments, or I would say relax on the critiques because we're sensitive and yeah, be nice to no, I'm not saying be nice to us. I am gonna say having a little bit of a problem getting our credits going, but you know, we're still new at this. It's coming. But yeah, let me check this sound thing here. Desktop audio is working. There we go. It's building up right there. So what I am gonna say is, while our editing bay and our thing is going, we'll be editing this out for the what is the word, YouTube highlights, because yeah, this stuff is a real thing. Oh, okay, I see what's happening over there. That is truly a thing. But yeah, so that is on that. Yeah, the heat is really messing with our editing bay. Like, really messing with this stuff. So, what I'm going to say on that is, again, if'n you guys have anything to say, feel free to email us at backinthedeck@gmail.com. You can also thank you for watching us on YouTube, and you can thank yourself. I'm thanking you. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, all that stuff I didn't say at the beginning of the episode. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Backinthedeck. Get into conversations with us. Check out some of our polls. Also, join Deckers on the Book on Facebook. It is an open group, and that's where we post our pictures. And that is where, hey, our music came back. And then it went away. That is a lot where we post a lot of our painted stuff, announcements, stores that we'll be going to, and events that we'll be covering, so you guys can definitely find out where we are and stuff like that. If you are like us and have to fight traffic all the time because you're in Southern California and New York and all those places, then feel free to go to SoundCloud at Back in the Deck, or SoundCloud/BidP, that's little b, little I, little d _ p, and you can listen to our entire back catalog. It's audio only, so you can listen to it in the car, in the shower, as you're riding your bicycle, when you're at the gym. You can hang out with us because you can download all that off of your SoundCloud for free if you're on limited data plans. I totally understand because I'm broke too. Follow us on the Instagram at Back in the Deck, where you can see like pictures of us talking about where we are, what we're building, what's coming down the pike. This weekend, or should I say this weekend, is our, today and tomorrow are our times to hang out with you. We're still going to have our normal transmissions of Game Gallery on Sunday and Buster Recap on Monday. Possibly Coffee and Conversation Tuesday, depending on the Comic-Con caravan. And then from Wednesday, I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con doing live interviews, checking out some new games from a lot of the gaming companies that'll be there, both big gaming companies like Steve Jackson and Wizards of the Coast, and small game companies like the ones that you might see on Kickstarter that was able to get the $10,000 to show up at Comic-Con and show their wares. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff there. Hopefully we'll get some interviews with some writers and artists. And it's going to be 4 days of hot, hot, hot turtleneck fun in the middle of a city that's overrun by nerds. So look
many
forward
nerds.
to all that. So many nerds. So
Love
many
'em.
nerds.
Love 'em.
It is our mecca. We'll be walking
yeah.
around the convention center like it was a great big cube in the middle of the desert. And so with that, I'm going to say, if anyone has told you that you can't like what you like or have the hobbies that you have because of your race, religion, creed, gender, sexual preference, gender identity, or the circumstances of your birth in any way, including economic, you just tell them to take those cards and put them back in the deck. I am Solar Gray, your cinematic sorcerer, along with...
Dave, not even good at stuff.
Especially not good at outros.
Ooh, really not good at outros.
And thank you guys for listening to Hobby Hall. We will see you guys we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, because next Saturday I'll be in San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con 2018. We'll see you guys later. Good afternoon.
Got these at Ace Hardware?